British Embassy. I just arrived, so we are going to start streaming and show everything that's going on here. Some people from the Force to Vote protests are here, so that's really great that we were able to integrate some of those people into these protests.
Everybody who supports Julian Assange, I need your attention, please. And even if you don't, I need yours more than everybody else's, actually. We're here today because of the brilliant organizing by the Action for Assange crew. First, give them a hand. I want to give a shout out to some of the people in the building. You got Steve and Andrew and Misty. What's up, man? We got the Slow News Day crew in here. We got the Facts on the Ground crew in here. We got the Combo Couch in the building. Oh, MCSE Sam here. We got Lee Camp in the building. Woo! Who is it? Who we got? Who am I missing?
Kendra Status.
Status Quo in the building. We got Pasta here. Probably want to sell you some vegan products. But we're here on behalf of a man who really revolutionized my entire thought process and approach as an independent journalist, and that man is Julian Assange. Andrew went down the list of all the ways Assange is being screwed illegally, as well as morally. But what I want to talk to you about is the tangible gains and the tangible change that Julian Assange really brought to the independent media world for young and up-and-coming journalists like myself back in 2015 and 2016. Although I've never been a Democrat or a Republican, I was of the mindset that at least, at the very bare minimum, they were different parties. Yeah, I was wrong. And it was WikiLeaks that showed me just how wrong that notion is. As we saw, Colin Powell and Hillary Clinton and DNC, like all these people who on the surface act like enemies, collaborate in various ways to screw over the people. It was very eye-opening for me, and with that approach going forward, I was able to use my platform, and then other people on the MCSE network were able to use their platforms to reinforce what a lot of people didn't really know, at least in mine, because I'm only 32 years old, so it feels like a lifetime ago, 4 years ago. But a lot of people didn't know that the duopoly is really just a monopoly who undergoes fake elections every 2-4 years and pretends as if you have a choice in what happens in this oligarchy. That was Julian Assange, who, in my opinion, led the awakening in this surge of independent journalists who are on the ground, who are at the organizing events, who are at the protests, who are part of the protest. Because I feel like for a long time, journalists were separated, and maybe that's a good thing because we want our fourth estate to be separate from the politics. But right now, we can't take a back seat anymore. If you're a journalist, you need to be saying Julian Assange's name every day, multiple times a day. I don't care what you're talking about. I randomly say Julian Assange's name on my show just because, like, hey, we just need to remind y'all, we're losing our freedom of the press right now as we speak, and Julian Assange is still being tortured. We need to say his name more often. I know a lot of you say his name often as it is. We have to say it more. And even if we're able to turn this protest into a celebration, we have to continue to say his name more. Because unfortunately, I have to remind you all what happened with Chelsea Manning. They got her back, right? They took her back to jail. They unconstitutionally brought her back in front of another grand jury and began torturing her again. We have to make sure there's never another Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden. We have to make sure that this never happens again. And whatever happens, no matter what the outcome is tomorrow, once again, hoping and speaking into fruition, that's going to be a celebration by the end of tomorrow. But even if, we have to continue to remember what took place, where we saw the last, oh my God, I think it's almost been about 8 years. We saw the assault on the freedom of the press hit levels that it's really never hit in history. And Julian Assange had to basically deal with it alone. He put the press on his back, and even as he's being persecuted, is still exposing the oligarchy. If we had journalists like Julian Assange, and by the way, all the new independent journalists out there, can we give the new ones a hand? If you've just started about a year or so ago, give yourself a hand, put your hands in the air, and make sure y'all connect with them after. Go subscribe to them, because these journalists were inspired out of anger, out of frustration. Most of them are monetized. If they are, it's not by a lot. Most of them don't even have Patreons. They have full-time jobs. They have kids. They have 6 cats and a dog. They're doing it because this is what they felt compelled to do. So we need everybody out there. You don't have to be a full-time journalist, but we need everybody to be a citizen journalist. We need everybody to be an activist. We need everybody to be an organizer. Yes, of course, naturally leaders pop up and they're chosen by committee, but at the same time, we need a decentralized movement like what we've been seeing today, where we just came from the Force to Vote event, and many of you were at that event, and now you are here. This is what democracy actually looks like, right? We don't have a representative democracy anymore, so let's not pretend like we do. But this is what democracy is supposed to look like. It doesn't take 50% of the population to change anything in this country, believe it or not. And in fact, I would even argue that if most of the country agrees on something that we should have it, we probably won't have it. But it takes 5%, a really, really, really loud 5%, to make the change this country needs. Julian Assange, no matter what happens tomorrow, will probably make history. But we can't allow that to happen again. We can't. ABC, CNN, multiple mainstream media organizations, the same ones who are attacking him right now, were saying that Julian Assange deserved Nobel Prizes and Pulitzer Prizes for the same type of information that when he released on the Democrats, all of a sudden, he's Russian on. And I listen to Julian Assange speak a lot. I don't think there's any Russian there. I'm bad with accents, but I don't think there's any Russian there. I think he's just telling the truth. They don't like that accent. But the same ones that were celebrating him are now attacking him, right? And they've joined forces with the Trump administration that they supposedly hate. They hate everything Trump does, except when it's time to prosecute Julian Assange, except when it's time to prosecute and persecute Chelsea Manning. And so if you're watching this from home, if you're watching this in passing, if you're just here because I know that there's some weirdos in DC that just like going to protest, I hope that you see what's happening in front of you, which is that there is no Democratic Party, there is no Republican Party. None of them respect the Constitution. None of them respect your rights. You gotta take it. You gotta take what's yours. We have to take our press back. We have to take Capitol Hill back. We have to take our human rights back. We have to take what is ours and fight like hell to keep it. Because it can't just be Julian Assange. I know everybody sees what's happening to Julian Assange, and it does make you avoid wanting to ever be in a situation like that. I really do understand it. But at the same time, I guarantee you they can't do it to all of us. I guarantee, or else they wouldn't work so hard to suppress everything that has to do with Julian Assange. Because they know they can't do it to all of us. Yeah. So if you have a phone, stop recording, get in front of the camera, tell the truth about what's happening to Julian Assange, tell the truth about the duopoly, tell the truth about the military-industrial complex. You have a camera, Get up. I don't care what the quality is. I don't care. Get up, talk. If you have a computer, hell, you don't even type the article in your notes. Write about Julian Assange. Write about the duopoly. Write about the military-industrial complex. You are a journalist. You are Julian Assange. You don't have to start out as a hacker or some poli-sci major, went to a J school somewhere. Damn all that. All the rules out the window. Y'all see some of these journalists out here, they're not really all that good. And they went to J school. Okay? They went to journalism school. It's a different world. The activists are the journalists now. I see a whole lot of activists out here, which means I see a whole lot of truth-telling journalists out here as well. So I want to say once again, Julian Assange, if you are able to see this, thank you. Thank you to his family for being so strong in this moment. Thanks to all the independent journalists who have already been covering Assange. Thanks to the Action for Assange crew who has been just so diligent and dedicated in doing their vigils, continuing what the previous Julian Assange advocates have done. His vigils have been going consistently and they almost died, but the Action for Assange crew refused to let that happen. Thank you so much. You know, I'm honored that you all use MCSC Network to stream. I know they always think I'm doing them a favor, but honestly, like, I'm honored that you would even come up to me and think and like believe that in my fight that I wouldn't even question allowing you to stream that vigil. Listen, we get hit with suppression because of it all the time. I don't care. Assange is that important. Figure out how you can support Assange, figure out how you can support independent journalism and freedom of the press and protect our Constitution. And I don't care what the quality is, get out and just do the shit. We don't have much time left. Julian doesn't have much time left, and we cannot afford to ever let this attack on the freedom of the press happen again. Thank you all so much.
Yeah! Where's the Amish Clicker?
This guy's walking around with coffee right now, and it's just are you Jesus? This is beautiful. It's a beautiful moment. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're gonna bring up Mr. Lee Camp now, and I don't know, man. You can, if you wanted to, you probably get under the easy up. No, you don't have to, stand in there. All the time.
Anytime I get compliments on style from Nico House, I know I'm doing Hello, everybody! Give it up for Action for Assange! I'll give it here one more time! Woo! The louder you yell, the warmer you'll be! What do we want? Free Assange! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Free Assange!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Free Assange!
When do we want it?
Now!
All right. See, you're warmer already, aren't you? So, a lot of it you guys know. You know that this is horrific. You know that Assange is a fucking hero. You know that the things he did for journalism, for this world, are in many ways unparalleled in the terms of the breadth of the truth that was revealed about repressive and secretive governments around the world. This guy should have fucking statues up for him, and instead he's in prison because he threatens them.
Yes.
He threatened them. He threatened the way they rule. The way the ruling elite can keep everything they do secret and not fear that we'll find out. Not fear that we'll know the truth about our governments. The truth is, I want to go through some of the things that WikiLeaks and Julian Assange has revealed over the years. Because a lot of people forget. A lot of people think that it's like the collateral murder video and that's it. They think that he only revealed stuff about America. But it's blatantly false. The collateral murder video is horrific. It's a crime against humanity. It's a war crime, and people should know about it. But it's not the only thing that WikiLeaks ever did. Of course, 12 to 18 innocent people were killed in the collateral murder event. 2 of them were Reuters journalists, and no one has gone to prison for those murders. Yet Julian Assange is in prison for revealing them. And of course, Chelsea Manning. The Guantanamo Bay Standard Operating Procedures revealed the treatment of prisoners in Guantanamo Bay and also revealed that many of them were innocent. No one has gone to prison for that treatment of those people, yet Julian Assange has for revealing it. The Iraq war logs, hundreds of thousands of documents revealing the truth about America's invasion and destruction of Iraq. No one has gone to jail, gone to prison for that the behavior of our military over there, and yet Julian Assange has for revealing it. And again, we have to also nod at Chelsea Manning. And so people, as I said earlier, people think it's only American stuff. He only revealed the truth about America because he wants to bring down America. No, he and WikiLeaks have revealed stuff about governments around the world. They revealed the treatment of Chinese dissidents, videos that China didn't want people to see. They revealed the Peru oil scandal, Russia spying on its own citizens, toxic dumping in Africa, the inner workings of the Syrian government, a secret Australian gag order meant to hide a huge bribery scandal that involved the central bank and Australian political leaders. And no one has gone to prison for those things, yet Julian Assange has for revealing them. He and WikiLeaks revealed the secretive Bilderberg Group meeting reports, which is a group of incredibly powerful world leaders that get together and they drink the blood of the non-believers. I might have made up that last part. The Barclays Bank tax avoidance scheme that allowed Barclays to steal £1 billion a year. No one went to prison for that, yet Julian Assange has for revealing it. The Afghan war diaries, tens of thousands of pages revealing American war crimes in Afghanistan. And people have not gone to prison for that, yet Julian Assange has for revealing it. Hundreds of thousands of State Department, U.S. State Department cables that revealed how our secretive government works, how it pressures other governments around the world to bend to its will. It revealed that Hillary Clinton ordered spying on allied governments. It revealed that Arab nations had pressured the U.S. to attack Iran, and so much more. We deserve to know these things as the people of this country. We deserve to know what our government is doing in our name. And no one is going to prison for all of these crimes, yet Julian Assange has for revealing them. The Stratford emails, millions of emails revealing private security company Stratford spied on journalists and activists, and no one's gone to prison for that, yet Julian Assange and Jeremy Hammond did for revealing them. The trade deals, TPP, TTIP, and TISA, some of the largest corporate power grabs ever created, ceding national sovereignty to powerful corporations around the world. And we hardly knew what was in those documents. Yet, WikiLeaks was able to publish some of what was in those, which allowed activists to have the knowledge and the proof in order to stand up against those trade deals. And TPP, we succeeded in stopping America from signing on to that. The impacts of what WikiLeaks and Assange have done is incredibly powerful. The ripples will go on for generations. And now Biden will probably re-sign on to the TPP. But still, you got 4 more years of not being part of a corporate tribunal that decides how our country works. The DNC emails that revealed corruption, manipulation, and coercion with the media to rig the 2016 primaries. No one went to prison for that, yet Julian Assange is in prison for revealing them. And finally, I'll end on the CIA's Vault 7. Show the world some of the inner workings of CIA, how it is that they hack into foreign governments, how it is that they're capable of hacking into your television, your smart TV, even when it's not on, and listening to you in your own home. They should be in prison for that kind of a breach of privacy. But instead, Julian Assange is for revealing it. You could go on and on. This is just a small sampling of what Assange and WikiLeaks have managed to do. And these are things we should know. These are things we, as the people of this country, and the people in other countries should know, that is objectively, the government is supposed to be working for you. That's the idea. We know that's not how that works, but it's how it's supposed to work. And so Assange should be free, he should be heralded, he should be celebrated, he should not be in prison being tortured as he has been for so many years. We desperately need more Julian Assanges. We desperately need more people standing up and and whistleblowers revealing the truth behind our government. That's what we need. And that's part of the reason why he needs to be tortured by the ruling elite. It's because they fear others will stand up like him. He set an amazing example of courage to reveal these things. And that is what's so dangerous. And so that is why, obviously, the UK should not extradite him. He should be free. He should be able to tour the world, giving speeches, and continue his work of journalism. And you guys are incredible for coming out and supporting that and demanding that. What do we want?
Freedom Assange!
Why do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Free Assange!
Why do we want it?
Now!
Thank you guys, and thank you, Action for Assange.
Gonna get Mara.
Oh, word. Oh, hi, Kate. Does 2 still work? I'm going to the market and we'll be back on 30 and 25 at the Livingston Street, Northwest Cleopas House. Great.
Miss
Jackson Hinkle,
Kimber, you looking for Misty? She's
step
right there.
forward, young man. Jackson, get on over here. I'm getting on over. Thank you very much for. What do we want?
Free Assange!
What do we want?
Now!
What do we want?
Free Assange!
What do we want?
Now!
The single biggest thing that has caused my political radicalization in my life has been the work of Julian Assange. I'm a YouTuber. I have an independent news channel that I started not too long ago. My name is Jackson Hinkle, and I live in California. And I came all the way out here in part because of the Medicare for All protests that are happening, but also because I desperately wanted to be here with all of you. And I wanted to stand up for Julian Assange, because the fact of the matter is there are no words that can there's no words that can explain what this man has done for press freedoms and for justice around this planet. And the way that he has been treated is an abomination, right? The torture. You have Niles Melcher, who is a UN special reporter, who has gone on record, put his career on the line multiple times to discuss the fact that what is happening to Julian Assange right now is a gross, disgusting act of torture, right? He's being held in solitary confinement for virtually every hour of the day. He's not allowed to go out and see the sunlight, and they're purposefully putting COVID-infested patients in the Belmarsh prison, which is the British equivalent of Guantanamo Bay, right next to him in that prison to try and kill him, right? They tried and killed him multiple times already. Now that they have him in Belmarsh, they're trying again. What's happening to Julian Assange is one of the biggest abominations that we have witnessed in modern global history. This is the biggest attack on press freedom, on freedom of speech, on publishing rights that we have ever seen. And it blows my mind that we are the only people here today. And it's in large part due to exactly what Nico was talking about, the fact that the mainstream media, who used to once celebrate this man, talk about the fact that he deserves Nobel Peace Prizes, he deserves medals of honor, now are the same people saying that he is a Russian asset. It also happens to be the same people that say Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset, the same people that say independent journalists like myself and many of the people here today are Russian assets. Right? It's insane. It's insane. Reading the Iraq war logs was the single biggest moment of political radicalization I've ever had in my life. You know, obviously, you were first radicalized to get into politics and become more left. I think we can all agree we've had those moments. But reading the Iraq war logs, looking at each instance of blatant acts of inhumanity, of violations of international war crimes, shook me to my core. right? It shook me to my core. And if it wasn't for Julian Assange, you can bet your ass that, you know, my white ass living in Orange County, California, never would have heard those stories, never would have heard about the disgusting acts of violence that were committed against civilians in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Niger, in Syria, in Libya, in Lebanon, in all across the world, right? It's happening all across the world, still today. Unfortunately, Julian isn't there to report on what's happening right now. He's not there to report, but WikiLeaks is still in the midst of this you know, extradition trial, if you can even call it that, this sham of trial, this kangaroo court hearing. They're still trying to do the work that needs to be done right now. So I want to thank all of you for being here today, for standing up for Julian Assange and for press freedoms. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, the fight does not end. The fight does not end. Whoever decides that they want to run for president in 2024 better have free fucking Assange on their website. Front and center. Well, they're not getting my vote. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Green Party candidate. I don't care if you're a People's Party candidate. Whoever is running for president better have free Assange on their platform. And we should demand that of all of our Congress people and senators who are representing us, right? If you are ever going to lobby a senator for a single issue, make sure you bring up free Assange while you're there. If you're there campaigning about environmental rights, if you're there campaigning about, you know, Wall Street regulation or what have you, bring up free Assange. Mention his name. Make sure that people hear his name. Because I guarantee you, when he's rotting away in a U.S. prison, the mainstream media won't be saying his name. The leading progressive politicians won't be saying his name. AOC in a fucking interview with The Intercept the other day said, I don't know about freeing Julian Assange. I don't know about a pardon for Julian Assange. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. That's what your progressive shining light AOC had to say about Julian Assange. She said, Edward Snowden, you know, there's an argument to be made there. Julian Assange, I don't know. Well, I know, all of you know the work that this man has done and that he will continue to be able to do if he is free. And we need him free now more than ever, because he is the one who is doing the acts of justice. He's not the one committing crimes. The people committing crimes are the ones who are locking him up. So thank you all for being here today. And one more time, let's say, free Assange! Free Assange!
Free Assange! Free Assange! Free Assange! Free Assange!
Weather's on that side. I was supposed to rain today. The weather's on our side.
What do we want?
Free Assange!
What do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Free Assange!
What do we want it?
Now!
It's disgusting what's going on with Julian Assange. It's just disgusting. What did he do? He told the American people the truth. Woo! Lee talked about a lot of the other stuff that a lot of people don't know and what he exposed. But I think we all saw the video of the helicopter and what it did to all those journalists who got gunned down. And I think every high school student should have to watch that video and see the horrific bloodshed that comes from war. And all Julian Assange did was tell the truth. Not like the mainstream media, not like CNN, that all they do is give you propaganda every single day. Julian Assange started WikiLeaks. He has never had to retract one story, ladies and gentlemen, not one story. He has a 100% accuracy rating. And what do? They let him sit there and rot. Right now in Belmarsh, they're trying to kill him. He needs help. He needs to be out there. And just think about this. Julian Assange has either been in hiding or in prison for over 10 years. Over a decade. Can you imagine what it's like to not be able to go outside, breathe the fresh air, not hold your children, not tell them you love them? But that's what Julian Assange is facing. And we need to be his voices. All the independent media you see here today, we're under attack.
Every day we get throttled on YouTube. Every day they demonetize us. They take us down. Why? Because they were able to do it to Julian Assange. They're able to do it to anybody. So we got to come together, ladies and gentlemen. Get on Action Assange. Help them out. Watch their vigils. And let's free Assange. What do we want?
Free Assange!
What do we want?
Now!
What do we want?
Free Assange!
What do we want? Let's give it up to Action for Assange for putting this together. This is awesome.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming out. My name is Steve Poikinen. I'm one of the organizers of the event here today. 175 years. 175 years under the Espionage Act for an Australian citizen with an outlet registered in Iceland. And this makes sense because does this make sense to anybody? Anybody? The United States is claiming international jurisdiction over the press. Raise your hand if you're part of the press. Part of the press, part of the... Everybody raise your fucking hand. The United States is claiming that if you, a private citizen, receive classified material, you can be prosecuted under the Espionage Act of 1917. This is unprecedented. This is brand new in this indictment against Julian Assange. It is brand new in this indictment against Julian Assange, and a journalist and publisher, period, is being charged under the Espionage Act, let alone a foreign journalist and publisher charged under the Espionage Act. The United States government is claiming that sharing classified material is an offense that they can prosecute private citizens under the Espionage Act. Raise your hand if you ever shared a link that contained classified material. The United States government cannot prosecute each and every one of you. My God! Like, can you imagine the Justice Department trying to prosecute every American citizen, every citizen on the globe? No. So they're going to do what they do with the Espionage Act every single time, which is use it as a political weapon to target people that they deem dangerous. So raise your hand if you think you're dangerous. I believe you're dangerous too. For all of the right reasons. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Does anybody else want to get in on this? Ian Schlackman. Where's Ian Schlackman? I know you have something to say, brother. I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah. I'm actually, I'm a little rusty. I haven't given a speech in public in like, I don't know, it feels like years with this coronavirus thing. But my mentor, the legendary Reverend Andy Chambers, Black Panther, who's still fighting in Douglas Home, the legendary Black Panther still fighting the establishment in Baltimore City every single day. And I asked her what she thought before I came here today. She wasn't able to come. And she said every single day people are freezing in prison all throughout Maryland, all throughout America, all throughout the world. And she doesn't see any difference between Julian Assange and her sons and daughters freezing their asses off in the prisons right here in Maryland. They get no heat, they get no reprieve, they don't get to see their loved ones. It's torture. The man is being tortured to death. The man is being tortured to death. And this kind of treatment happens every single day to those in the prison industrial system right here in the USA. But what was more scary than that is happening right now. And that is that as of tomorrow, there is the chance that the U.S. will have an internationally recognized right to pick you up wherever you are on this planet just because they don't like what you're saying, just because they don't like what you're publishing, just because you're publishing the truth. And when that international right happens, every single country is going to be fighting for that right back at them. You're going to see war after war started over who can abduct what journalists over what time, all throughout the damn U.S., all throughout the damn country, all throughout the damn world. We are opening the Pandora's box here, where we do not respect the rights of journalists. Last I checked, Julian Assange was not an American citizen. He's not subject to American law. Last I checked, he had the freedom of speech, even if he goddamn was. And I'm outraged by this. I'm outraged by the international pressure that has been so lacking. And I am damn outraged by the fact that this is not in the mainstream news of America. We should be furious at the mainstream news. This is a precedent that we will never get back. Never get back. The U.S. wants to be the world policeman, and that is the step far too far when it comes to press freedom. We've got to fight. We've got to keep fighting. And we've got to make sure that this kind of thing, look folks, right here, all of you all are leaders in this movement, whether you want to be or not. Whether you just want to be covering it, whether you just want to be someone on Twitter, whether you want to be someone online, or more than that, you're a leader in this movement. You're standing up. You're courageous when others are falling down. You're speaking truth to power when others are staying hidden and they don't want to speak up on what's going on right now. Use your leadership. Use your newfound powers of fighting for this movement to go further than ever before and to take this back home with you and to tell every single person in your community that this is not okay. This is not acceptable. What's going on with Julian Assange is just the first step in the war on press freedom. The war that will kill us and kill this country. Now imagine if we literally didn't know about what happened that day in Iraq. Imagine if we didn't know about the people that had died. Imagine if that wasn't exposed. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this is killing us. This is literally going to kill people. We have to be sure to keep the pressure up no matter what happens tomorrow. Keep the pressure going. Keep the campaign going. Keep on fighting. Justice anywhere, justice everywhere. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Asher for his time. Let's give it to Asher for his time. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And they said they were doing this in January. I said, good luck. I can't believe you're coming to D.C. in January. And look at all you people here from all over the world. Who's not from D.C.? Raise your hand. Who's not from D.C.?
Oh.
This is fucking amazing. This is fucking amazing. Thank you, Ryan.
Give it up for Ian Schlockman!
That's kind of why I always like that about the
Oh, excuse me. Hi. Thank you for organizing.
So we are here in January because District Judge Vanessa Baraitser, or as we've been calling her, the concierge to the U.S. State Department, reads the decision in Julian Assange's extraordinary rendition warrant.
I love that. It was so funny, dude. And it was like my first time in the studio ever. And then right after the pandemic happened, I was like, I'll never get to the studio. I'm going to cheat
Well,
out or something.
stop using the language of empire.
But it was fun. It was really fun.
There's nothing legal about any of this. I don't know if you guys know the extent to which Julian Assange's basic human, civil, and legal rights have been violated throughout this entire process. In 2017, the guy who lives in that house, Mike Pence, and a guy named Richard Grenell, and Donald Trump, and Shelton Adel got together and they drafted a Spanish security firm called UC Global, the president of which, David Morales, is now in serious legal trouble in Spain. UC Global was tasked with a brand new job alongside of providing security to the Ecuadorian embassy. They were tasked with
Franco.
upgrading the video and audio surveillance.
Good to see you, man.
With special interest in all of his meetings with
Yeah,
his
glad you can
attorney.
make it out here. Yeah, 1 hour.
From 2017 on, Julian Assange hasn't had a shred of lawyer-client confidentiality. This is something that's actually come out in a Spanish court, but it also came out in court in September in the UK. This is something that Judge Vanessa Baracer is well aware of. There were 3 different witnesses from the whistleblower rule testified during the last week of Julian's hearing. In what world does a torture victim who doesn't live in the country that he's being extradited to or have an outlet in the country that he's being extradited to, in what world does a judge sit there and go, okay, so there's violation upon violation upon violation upon violation upon violation of this man's rights and this man's liberties. What does my laptop say? Okay, well I'm just going to read whatever the laptop says. This isn't, John Pilger was right. This isn't due process, it's due remand.
God bless them. I hope something good comes out of it.
The fact that collateral murder wasn't part of the hearing at all. Not because it exposed the rules of engagement, which it did, but everybody already knew what they were anyway, because the video had been out for a decade. Because it was prima facie evidence of U.S. war crimes, it wasn't allowed in court. The fact that United States war crimes were addressed at all in a British courtroom is fascinating, because if Julian Assange gets brought to the United States, no one is going to hear about that in court. None of you are going to be able to hear about any of this in court. You're not going to be able to show up. It's a national security case. They're not going to let a single human being that isn't a member of the jury, the bailiff, or the judge in that courtroom. Julian Assange would be tried in the dark. And I mean that quite literally. They black out the window in the courtroom. National security cases take place in a back system. Julian Assange's case is already taking place in a giant press vacuum. Once again, Reporters Without Borders and other NGO observing groups have been shut out of monitoring Julian's hearing. Back in September, over 40 different groups were locked out of the Old Bailey in order to observe the world's biggest press freedom trial in our lifetime. Absolutely. Absolutely. Daniel Ellsberg talks about the chilling effect that this is going to have on journalists. It's already happened. I see a handful of people from the independent media out here. I see none of the people who sit at Indie Media's school kids table.
Call them out!
I mean, I realize it's not great weather, but, it is your future we're out here trying to protect. I certainly don't see anybody with a giant multi-million-dollar contract out here, even though it's their job that I guess we're sort of trying to protect, but fuck those guys, really. Fuck every last bit of those guys. Let's yell at the British Embassy for a little bit. There's only one decision! No extradition! There's only one decision!
No extradition!
There's only one decision!
No extradition!
Free! Free! Julian Assange!
Free! Free! Julian Assange!
Free! Free! Julian
extradition!
You wanna hold my?
I will hold your camera for you.
Thank you.
Not Trent, you gotta pull the trigger there, buddy.
All right.
Franco!
Franco!
I love what I'm seeing here. This is democracy. This is what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy
This is what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
That is what imperialism 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 looks like!
As everybody's been up here and talked about it, covered, what happens to Assange affects all of us. We are Julian Assange. We're all the press. We all have our phones now. We can cover everything that's going on. They're afraid of us. The mainstream media is not going to talk about this. Where the fuck are they? Where the? I said this yesterday about forced vote. Where the fuck is the home of the progressives? Where the fuck are they? They're not even talking about this. Because by definition, they are corporate news. They are mainstream media. They're afraid to talk about this. But we're not afraid to talk about this. We're all out here. We're all here for Assange. Doctors from across the world. Over 200 doctors signed the letter that said
Ford
what they're
Fisher
doing to
right over
Assange.
there has provided more actual
Inhumane.
commentary about
That he
Julian
needs to be
Assange
freed
than the Young
now.
Turks.
Free Assange now!
Free Assange now!
Free Assange now!
Free Assange now!
This is what democracy looks like!
Oh shit, there we go.
Democracy looks like!
That is what imperialism looks like!
That is what imperialism looks like!
Free Assange!
I would just again like to
Thank
thank
you, boy.
everybody for coming out. We're still going to be here a while, no one's going anywhere. Our WikiLeaks van is making one more circle around the block. They are going to be with us for a while, but we want to get a group picture with everybody if you're willing to hop in for one when it comes around. Feel free to blow your whistles. Eventually we're going to start walking around the embassy chanting in a little bit after the band picture. We have wristbands, we have buttons, we have flyers in there. Please help yourself to any of our counter propaganda. I appreciate your help. Thank you guys for turning out today. Hey, could everybody come line up over here for the group photo when the band pulls through?
It's my least favorite
Group
color.
through. Right here along the curb, basically from the telephone pole to wherever. Telephone
All right.
pole in the back, short
They're about to take a group photo. So I'm about to just have the camera face me as they take a picture.
I realize
Or
Well, I just asked him and he said he didn't know either, and then he walked away. So. Steve!
What?
How am I supposed to do this? Do you want it cut or what?
Well, everybody get in! Yeah!
Yeah.
Good luck to us all!
Love you, Sleepy. Yeah, Steve says good luck to us all. Yeah, exactly.
We got some short people moving to the front.
Nice one, Steve. Yeah.
van should be back any minute.
Oh, the truck.
Andrew, you gotta get in here.
I will. Okay, whose phone is this? Okay, there you go.
Misty, come on.
Come on.
Yeah, that today.
We're waiting for the truck for the picture, I'm sorry. They lined up over there. But there's only one decision! There's only one decision! This is a new one, so follow me here. Donald Trump, you know what to do! Julian Assange told us the truth! Donald Trump, you know what to do! Julian Assange told us the truth! Donald Trump, you know what to do! Julian Assange told us the truth! There's only one decision! No extradition! There's only one decision! No extradition! What do we want? Freeze time! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freeze time! When do we want it? Now! Woo!
Pizza.
Trump will be here any minute, I promise you. Any second now.
You better start another chant. You got another new one?
No jokes. I'm not good at jokes. I got some Sarah Palin ones.
Oh, we love Sarah Palin.
Hey, Andrew. Andrew, we need a jazz Andrew dance.
No.
Yes.
No.
You promised me.
No.
How about we superimpose the truck in the background of the picture? Right?
Chop it in the grass.
Greetings, everyone. I'd like to ask for two favors. My name is Peter Bolton. I am a former candidate for the Green Party here in DC, and I'm also a reporter with the UK's leading independent online news source, The Canary. First of all, I'd like you to all consider whether you want to bother with the futile task of trying to reform the Democratic Party and moving it to the left. We've already heard that AOC, the so-called darling of the left, has failed to stand up for Julian Assange. And I would like you to instead consider joining your local affiliate of the Green Party of the United States. Second of all, I'd like you to consider following The Canary on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, or if you can afford it, please become a sponsor. We have been reporting on Julian Assange's case since October 2015 and have published over 100 articles. I have nothing more to say about Julian Assange because it's already been said other than two things. First of all, he is not a criminal. He's not even a whistleblower. He is a journalist, just like me and just like many of you. The second thing I know is that the United States government and the United Kingdom government have absolutely zero credibility when it comes to passing judgment on Julian Assange or any other journalist or any other nation for that matter. The UK and the US are the two leading rogue states in the world, and if there are any journalists, other journalists amongst you, I would like you to make an effort to make that case every time you get in front of your computer and write an article. Thank you so much for showing up, and thank you to the other speakers.
Yeah, thanks for what you do, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I just started a channel like less than a year ago. Yeah, picked up some steam. Yeah, I had a couple of the people here on. I do some commentating. One of the videos that really blew up is one where I was calling out like TYT, Sam Cedar, and all them for focusing their energy on attacking Jimmy instead of focusing on force to vote.
There's only one decision!
No extradition.
So while we wait for the van, I'm going to have us marching down this way, We're going to do some chanting, some yelling. Just so you guys know the layout, the British Embassy goes all the way down. There's 3 more buildings, and then the New Zealand Embassy, which for those of you who don't know, New Zealand's part of a spy alliance that's been used against the US people called the Five Eyes. So we're just going to go all the way down, because at the very end's a naval intelligence base. So we'll chant all the way down here, we'll come marching back, we'll go out front, and hopefully by then the van will have met up with us. Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! There's only one decision! No extradition! No extradition!
Locally, we were able to
Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Only one decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! We'll gather around there, we'll take a picture, and then that's most of what we're doing. Beyond that, it's just making noise, maybe a couple more speakers. While the van gets in position, we're gonna march back. I believe that is the house of the British ambassador, either that one or that one. So, while we go by, give him a nice little fuck you.
Fuck you!
No one decision!
No!
Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! No decision! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! No extradition! Free! Free! Julian Assange! Free! Free! Julian Assange! No extradition!
That would have been a crime, but I'm not saying it was a crime for him to accept it. Anyway, so someone back then started following Assange and Chelsea Manning. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. Thank you for covering
Cool. So we're going to have the van pull up kind of where we're standing, so we can get the fences and the buildings and all the factories that are in the background. So we can move a little bit towards the city so the van can pull, basically as close to the curb as possible.
Directly up to like
Tall people in the front, short people in the back, please.
Isn't that backwards?
Same.
Oh, we should everybody knows.
Listen to what I read, not what I say.
So we have a crowd trying to get through. Okay, on the count of three, everybody say, fuck the British. 1, 2, 3. Fuck the British. 1, 2, 3. Fuck the British. 1, 2, 3. Fuck the British. Woo!
Fuck Pretty Patel.
Could you lower that sign down so we can there we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, this time free Assange on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Free Assange. 1, 2, 3. Free Assange. 1, 2, 3. Free Assange. You guys are awesome. I love every one of you. Thank you very much. So we're gonna head back down by the tent in the road. If you want to walk around and yell at them, you can feel free to grab one of the megaphones. We have this one and then that one that Mr. Schlackton has. Let's make some noise. We got whistles, we got megaphones. I'm sure we can piss these people off for the next hour. Because there's no free speech for the next 100 years that's going to go away if they be pieces of shit.
We have
Puerto Rico right now.
Really?
We're at the
We'll wind it back down to that. Thank you so much for coming out.
you can say something. Sure, Larry. Why not?
I mean, I get fired.
Yeah, I helped organize the protest. Now more than ever.
Oh my God, that forced to vote is like the most enraging thing I've seen in years.
It should not be like that.
It's absolutely abominable.
Yeah.
It's just, she's your representative. It's trying to hold her accountable. Like, what?
Exactly.
You can stand for her all day. You still gotta tell people.
It's insane.
Like,
The people
hey,
who claim to be for this issue are not fighting for it. They care more about personalities than they care about policies.
that is one of the most. It's like take your pick. It's like lack of media coverage or a shit ton of coverage, and people going the wrong way. It's like, all right, well.
You campaigned on it, it's like, now do it.
Why is there a double standard? I cannot understand.
Yeah.
Literally. Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I've still been traveling.
Like, when I was growing up,
I met you guys a year ago at the anti-war protest. I had my hair up at the time. Yeah, how you guys been? How's Venezuela?
We regret coming back.
Oh gosh, I can imagine. But I mean, thank God for people like you guys though, doing coverage like that. That as well, yeah. It's great that people are coming here from all across the country
the mic over to him for a minute.
for a song for Force to Vote.
Something that, like many of us are journalists, but he's one of the people that's actually a mover and a shaker in the profession. So having him pronounce a real honor.
Hey, Max! Woo!
Closer. There's like an old joke, like if you're holding a mic at a rally, you're just a nationalist, and if you're holding a megaphone out of a van, you're an ultra-nationalist. That's the difference. But that's on the right. I mean, this is people from all over the political spectrum who are just coming together over some basic principles. Principles that the British kingdom, the faded empire of the UK, claims to embody: human rights and democracy. And all we see here is pure hypocrisy. And first of all, let me just say, because I'm a son of DC, I know this city, I know the political atmosphere here, and what we have today with all of you out here in not the nicest weather, in the middle of a pandemic, to support someone who is not an American citizen, whose name has been completely maligned in our media, who has been smeared, who has been the target of every kind of possible denigration and smear. This is incredible that we've mobilized this many people today, and this is just the beginning. And it's also a part of what took place earlier in DC with Force to Vote.
to expose the hypocrisy in our political system, where self-styled socialists like AOC say that there are concerns around Julian Assange and will not challenge Nancy Pelosi, a straight-up warmonger. So this is just about people power. This is pure people power today, and these are incredible numbers considering the situation that we're in. I hadn't prepared any remarks. I wasn't really prepared to speak, but you know, one of the things that upsets me the most today is that this is the anniversary of the state murder of Qasem Soleimani, someone who not only defended his country, but defended the Middle East against one of the most vicious, fascistic forces in the world and helped defeat ISIS. And he actually worked alongside the United States to defeat ISIS, and the United States murdered him. And what did they do a year ago after they murdered him? They assassinated him. Donald Trump deployed fake intelligence, falsely claiming that Qasem Soleimani was on his way to kill Americans and attack American embassies. In fact, he had been lured to Iraq with the false promise by the U.S. of negotiations, and he was on his way to a peace conference brokered by the Iraqi government. So Donald Trump went out and lied to the American public to assassinate the second most important public figure in Iran. This kind of lie is the kind of lie, these are the kind of lies that WikiLeaks and Julian Assange had been exposing for about a decade. And this is why Julian Assange is in jail. Julian Assange is in jail because of these words that he said, that if wars can be started with lies, wars can be stopped with the truth. And Julian Assange, with his model of publishing, with the courage of WikiLeaks, they brought us the truth that exposed the lies, not just behind the conventional wars that we've seen, but the hybrid wars, the vicious sanctions that are starving to death tens of thousands of Venezuelans and Iranians and Cubans, and are now targeting independent sovereign countries like Nicaragua, where WikiLeaks through the State Department cable showed how the U.S. was paying opposition parties who tried to destroy the Sandinistas. We've learned so much from WikiLeaks, and it's for that reason that Julian Assange is in jail. And they're in jail, he's in jail to make an example of him. He's in jail the same way that Joan of Arc was burned to the cross, to make an example so the rest of us don't go and do what he does. And because he's there, and I can tell you I was in touch with him for several weeks, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, over Signal, about what was taking place. And he, at certain points, was hopeful that he would be taken out of the embassy in London. I remember one message he sent to some of his supporters, and it was a rainbow emoji. He was hopeful, and then his hopes were crushed by the British security state acting as the cat's paw of the CIA. But he had this hope, and when his hope was crushed, I thought the best thing I can do is just redouble our efforts at the Gray Zone to continue the work that he's doing and that WikiLeaks is doing. And all of you independent journalists are continuing that work today. You should give yourselves a hand. I know Julian would be so proud of you if he could see what you're doing, and I know he knows this is happening because I've been in touch with his legal team. He's following all of this closely, even though he's kept in a maximum security prison, unable to have human contact with his partner, contact with his children in the middle of a pandemic, with COVID spreading in that prison. He's being tortured, and the people who tortured Khalid al-Masri, who was kidnapped by the CIA in a case of false identity, and whose torture was exposed by WikiLeaks, they're still out there. They're still free. They're still walking down these streets as free people. That is the ultimate crime. So, Julian Assange was, in December 2017, in a series of meetings, and I wrote about this at the Gray Zone. I hope all of you get a chance to read the story that I published called The American Friend, based on leaked documents from a court case in Madrid with a CIA contractor that surveilled Julian Assange on trial. Julian Assange had a series of meetings with his legal team, the Ecuadorian Senaim Security Services, to talk about coming out of the embassy legally under international law. He was going to be given diplomatic immunity. A third-party country was going to make Julian Assange
a diplomat. But the CIA was spying on these meetings, and I have proven that it was the CIA that was spying on these meetings, the U.S. government, spying on his legal team, violating attorney-client privilege, and they issued a secret indictment of Julian Assange in Washington when everyone was denying there was an indictment because they knew he was trying to come out of the embassy. At this time, they were tailing his partner, Stella Morris. They were trying to steal his child's diaper out of the dumpster to try to prove that it was his DNA. They were plotting to assassinate him with poison. They were plotting to kidnap him. This was all revealed in the Spanish trial. And ultimately, the plan to give Julian Assange diplomatic immunity under the international law was shattered by the CIA. But this has significant implications for the trial at the Old Bailey in London. Because now that we know through this Spanish case where the CIA contractor, David Morales, and UC Global, which Mike Pompeo was using to spy on Julian Assange, now that we know that the CIA was spying on him and his lawyers, now that we know that the CIA was plotting to assassinate him, that this idea was pitched by David Morales to kill him, now that we know that, there is absolutely no way he can be extradited here and to expect anything even pretending to be a free or fair trial. There is absolutely no way legally that he can be extradited to this country, which has already tortured him for years, which is controlling his prosecution in London, which is compelling the British state, which is America's poodle, to torture him in this maximum security prison. There is no way he can be extradited. So that's the message I want to send, is even if it's morally obscene to torture, jail, and prosecute a journalist for the crime of journalism in a country where he isn't even a citizen, it is a complete violation of international law and even our Constitution to bring him here and put him on trial. So when I see Julian Assange next here, he's going to be a free person. And it's going to be thanks to the work that you all have been doing. You don't have any big backers, you don't have any supporters, you're just doing this out of your own conviction, and you should give yourselves a hand, and we just have to keep continuing the work that Julian Assange started, regardless of what happens. So thank you for being here. All of you are so inspiring to me.
Cool. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Open mic, is there anybody that would like to come up?
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I want to give a big shout out to all the different independent media outlets. We have Status Quo hanging out with us today. We got Fort Fisher, Jackson Hinkle. We got the Convo Couch. Nico House was here. MCSC Network. We have Lee Camp. We have the Canary. We have Rupley. And so many others. I apologize if I did not say your name.
Frank Analysis.
Tuesday with Steve. This is how change happens. This may be an assembly of about 50 people. But between all of our channels, between all of this coverage, there are thousands of people that we have educated on multiple different aspects of Julian's case today. All I ask is that everyone here today, all of the viewers online, we don't forget this, because it's not over. Tonight at about 5 a.m. Eastern Time is when Vanessa Baraitser will be reading her decision. There is only one decision, and it is no extradition. Because this is not a court case, this is a kidnapping. Julian Assange is not a terrorist, he is not a criminal, he is a journalist. And if he is allowed to be prosecuted, we are all next. The viewers, the speakers, the people in this audience, because fascists will not allow truth to be proliferated amongst the public. This is our time to run, to pick up this banner before someone as maniacal as Joe Biden potentially takes office. We've had Obama's administration prosecute more whistleblowers than anyone else previously in history combined. And Donald Trump broke that fucking record. Donald Trump is prosecuting a journalist. It is his administration, at the advice of Rick Grenell, that is bringing forth these charges that will end our public right to know. They hide it behind the veil of a right-wing leader because they are the ones who people think will defend free speech. We cannot allow their propaganda to allow this to happen. We were here as Action for Assange during Donald Trump's Stop the Steal in the middle of December. We were the ones that were chanting at his events. We were the ones that forced his pastor, I think it's like Mark Burns, to say they will pardon Julian. And it is the deep state that forced him an hour later to retract that message. Our voices have power. Use it. Use your voice, use your feet. Use your blood, sweat, and tears. Because the more we are willing to suffer for this now, the less we will suffer when they come for us. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Morgan Argentino,
Yeah.
and I am a journalist with Sputnik News Agency, and I've been covering the Julian Assange's case for a long time, as well as many of the other heinous crimes and assumptions of U.S. imperialism. And I want to talk for a moment about how Assange's case really represents the attitude of the U.S. government that it runs the world.
Right.
Beginning with the presumption that somebody who's not a U.S. citizen could be subjected to a U.S. law. Assange is being tried under the Espionage Act. And the Espionage Act is one of those laws that the U.S. presumes to be a global law, that it presumes that this law has any effect anywhere around the world. And this is the same presumption that the U.S. applies when it assassinated Qasem Soleimani, when it carries out drone strikes where they hit weddings in Somalia, where everyone is judged if you are killed. At U.S. Africa Command doesn't even register, they don't even look at whether you're a civilian or not. If you're killed, you're judged to be a terrorist. And it's this same right that it's not just Donald Trump. It's been claimed since Obama and since Bush and earlier that the U.S. has the right to assassinate, to jail, to kidnap anybody who undermines the U.S. empire anywhere, or even is just on the wrong side of what U.S. interests happen to be. Now, it happens to be that Assange is someone who has exceptionally embarrassed and humiliated and undermined the U.S. empire in major ways simply by telling us the things that we have a right to know, and which is why it's such a extreme overreach, and it's kind of like Max said, it's a little bit revenge, right? Is that this is revenge in the same way that assassinating Soleimani was revenge for helping to rally the Middle East around to defeat a U.S. Proxy force that was going to give the U.S. even help it to retain control over the Middle East by keeping it in chaos even longer. So this is one reason why I'm out here among many to support Assange and to oppose the extradition is because if the U.S. has the right to prosecute somebody from another country and extradite them back to the U.S., then for something like this, then what don't they have the right to do? Where does U.S. overreach stop? It has to stop here. It has to stop with Assange. It has to stop with one of the most valuable journalists of our era. And that's why we have to be out here to demand that the extradition stop and that Assange be freed, and eventually one day see to it that this terroristic U.S. empire is brought down. Thank you.
Yes. All right.
Here.
Give it to somebody.
Okay. You're going to speak, right?
How do you spell your name again?
Let's give it up. All the power pals coming to speak, guys. Come on, you can do louder than that.
Am I holding it right? You can hear me? Very appropriate to be here on the British flag because my friend George Galloway, he always makes this joke. I don't know if he came up with it, but he always says, the sun never set on the British Empire because God would never trust it in the dark. And we all know since World War II, the United States essentially inherited that legacy. It acted as the global police. It made sure that the sun never set on its borders with its array of military bases and occupation posts set around the world. And Julian Assange is in prison. He's facing extradition to the United States because he posed an actual threat to that empire. And I'm not only talking about in terms of the crimes he exposed through the Iraq war logs or the Afghan war logs. We've all seen the video of U.S. soldiers gunning down Reuters journalists in Iraq. We've seen that brutal front of the U.S. empire which Julian exposed. But sometimes I think we forget about the real revolutionary force WikiLeaks proved to play in the world. Through the State Department leaks, some of us might remember, they actually inspired an outright revolution in the country of Tunisia. I remember at the time following news of the uprising in Tunisia after a young fruit vendor, Mohamed Bouazizi, self-immolated in the street. And the people of Tunisia rose up and overthrew their longtime leader, Ben Ali. And it was right after WikiLeaks had exposed through the State Department cables the depth of corruption of the Ben Ali state. Of course, Tunisians knew all of this to be true, but WikiLeaks had put it on the record and confirmed what so many people had known throughout his rule. And if you look at mainstream media coverage of that revolution, I think it's The Guardian that says this is the first WikiLeaks revolution. We're not just talking about exposing crimes here, we're talking about Assange moving masses of people to change the course of history. That is a threat to the empire. That is the most dangerous act that any journalist can take. And when all this was going on is when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And so I came to journalism because I saw through what WikiLeaks had done that this is where I could put my energy to feel like I actually have an impact on the world. That's the power of true journalism. And so I can't think of anyone else who inspired me more to do what I do than Julian Assange. But all of us here, I know, standing here, can say something similar. He is an example for all of us, and we will all be next if this is allowed to go through. So I will be up tonight to witness this history. I mean, and as Andrew said, the only declaration that can come down is no, we hope. But regardless of the outcome, I know that we're going to continue to struggle, and that I'll see you guys at the Justice Department tomorrow, and that we shouldn't forget the impact that the work Assange can have, and as Max said, just hold up his example. So thank you all for doing that by being out here today, and viva la revolution, and viva Assange.
Right here. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Hey guys, once again, thank you all for being here. These are the true journalists right here. The people who have been covering Julian Assange, the people that aren't afraid to lose a corporate establishment job just by saying his name. The people that aren't afraid to push the envelope to be true journalists, to actually be what the Fourth Estate was supposed to be. What we have lost. We are living in a fascism that is cryptic. People thought that voting Trump out was enough. You can't vote your way out of this. You can't rebrand socialism as an imperialist, pro-regime change brand like AOC has managed to do. We can't allow that to happen because co-option is a part of the system. It's how the establishment continues. Sheep herding people back into a party that has shown them time and time again that they don't care. So why is this relevant to Julian Assange? Well, because the progressive movement has largely ignored him. As someone that supported Sanders, I can tell you the vast majority of his supporters did not hold him accountable when he was not speaking on him, on Julian Assange, when he refused to stand up for him. The vast majority of his supporters didn't see the importance of supporting a journalist who did nothing wrong but tell us the truth and expose not only U.S. war crimes, as we have heard, but Western imperialism. A topic that most of the DSA progressives that aren't serious about actually pushing beyond Western socialism don't really talk about. What is the imperialism actually? What is that? We have been bullies all over the world, and nothing shows you more than what we're doing to Julian Assange in this kangaroo trial, where he's not even remotely human, to say the very least. And so what we have to do, if you are somebody that really cares about force the vote, if you are somebody that cares about Medicare for all, about any issue, immigration, any issue, all of those issues are tied to free speech, because if we don't have the ability to have a YouTube channel like The Gray Zone, like MCSC Network, like Combo Couch, like Jackson Hinkle, all these voices, if we don't have the ability to stream, we won't have the ability to inform others on what's actually happening. We don't have the ability to provide real journalism to counter the lies of the establishment corporate media. And that is important. That's why we're out here fighting for those people who mock this as a right-wing talking point, who mock the deep state, who pretend that the deep state isn't real and hasn't been real for decades. They literally say, oh, you're a right-wing, you're a right-wing Nazi for talking about the deep state. A lot of the left has fallen into that trap. And I have to talk about that because as a leftist, we need to be more loud about Julian Assange. The fact that more Republicans and libertarians in our Congress are fighting for free speech and standing up against censorship, is a shame. We also need to go beyond classifying people as a right-winger for simply having a different point of view. This is an issue that is beyond party lines, post-party lines. I can be a leftist and I can talk to somebody that doesn't consider themselves one and say, you know what, free speech, it impacts all of us. We are all getting screwed by the system. And we have hit a pivotal time right now in history where more of us are realizing that, and that is thanks to every single person who has been loud, who has gone to a protest where there's been 5 people, and has stayed there, who comes to a protest now where it's raining, who drives across the country. Your efforts are not in vain. Not at all. And so we need to be louder for Julian. We need to be out there tonight, tomorrow. The fight doesn't end. And I want to thank every single one of you who has put up with a bunch of crap from people who don't think this is an important issue. And to those people who say, well, this is just one man, it's just one issue, free speech, we need to protect some violent speech, etc. This is much bigger than one man. If he falls, I fall, you fall, many fall. That is the importance of this trial, the exposure, of imperialism, the exposure of corruption, and that's why we're all here, so thank you very much, and fight on, free Julian Assange.
Andrew.
Cool. So, we have one more speaker before we wrap up. Nick, you want to come?
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone who planned this, everyone who's here. Mural is right. We represent so many. There may be 50 of us here, but we represent so many people out there who are not able to attend. We made it out here in the middle of a pandemic. We're here to show solidarity because we know where this is heading. We know that we have to take a stand now. We know that the Democrats have actually been worse on press freedom than the Republicans. And so many people have said so much today that Max Blumenthal, so many others, that there's hardly anything left that I could say about that, who knows so much more about the topic. But I want to say that the People's Party stands strongly in solidarity with freedom for Assange.
So, we're going to wrap up for today. It's raining. A lot of us have been at two events, if not more today. Tonight at midnight, we have a permit to do this exact same thing in this exact same place. If you can make it, please join me. I want to piss these people off more than you can imagine. So we're going to be here at midnight to wake them up. The significance is they have to wake Julian up at 5 o'clock in the morning. The UK is 5 hours ahead of us. So we come at midnight to wake them up at the exact same time that they are waking Julian up, to strip search him, to put him in a glass coffin inside of a vehicle, drive him over an hour to the Old Bailey, to be removed, strip search, handcuffed, and transported into a glass cage in the back of the prison. If you're as outraged as I am, please consider joining me tonight to wake these guys up at the same time that they wake up Assange. Tomorrow at noon, we will be outside the Department of Justice. Rain or shine, snow, tornadoes, fuck them. So please join us, whether the ruling's extradition, no extradition, or some other crazy thing that the judge comes up with. Tonight at about 4 a.m. on our Action for Assange channel, we're going to be kicking off live coverage.
It's this morning.
This morning.
I promise.
This morning. Just so everyone knows, journalists are not allowed to actually broadcast this trial. So we invented a creative method back in September where we're going to be going through all the live tweets from all of the journalists that have access to the court's live feed, so we can build people the most accurate, full and detailed picture of the courtroom, short of being there watching it yourself. So that's going to start tonight at 4 in the morning, and I just hope everybody goes home, be safe, and turns out tonight and tomorrow to free this man. Thank you very much. Woo! Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming out, everybody. You guys make my heart nice and warm and big and stuff. This is great.
You have a
Basically the same thing that I did the
I know you're doing a live stream, but if I get a selfie with you?
Go ahead, yeah. Can you hold this for a little bit?
Yeah, totally. Like this?
Awesome.
Good?
Yeah.
by 10 a.m. their time, which is 5 our time, the judge ordered it to run through.
Yeah, man. Send that over to me. Yeah, I know. Us Marylanders gotta. I live in Silver Spring.
Silver Spring?
Yeah. Us Marylanders, we gotta stay in touch. Yeah.
I'm heading out of town for a little bit, but I'll be back in a couple months.
Okay.
And I'll be back to...
I'll be down to go to like an event if you ever are hosting one, like in Baltimore, or like whenever you're helping.
all the time.
Yeah, when you're helping
Yeah.
homeless people,
Yeah.
I'm down to come one day.
Yeah. Like we were doing a food drive every single day. We stopped for the winter. We're gonna set up again in the spring. And I'll be back in the spring. So
Okay.
yeah. So we'll let you know.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, coming on public.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so there's gonna be people here at midnight. I'll try to make it here. If not, I support everybody who comes out here at midnight and wake these people up. I'm trying to wake up early so I can make it here to the next protest for Force to Vote. But it's been an amazing 2 days so far, as you guys have seen. People from all across the country are coming out in support of Force to Vote, in support of freeing Julian Assange, and we're going to keep fighting. I appreciate all the support you guys give me, all the support you guys give independent media in general. If it wasn't for you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Make sure you give a like, share this video. Don't just subscribe to me. Subscribe to everybody who showed up to this event. Subscribe to the Convo Couch. Subscribe to the Nico House of the MCSC Network. Subscribe to Slow News Day, Action for Assange, Jackson Hinkle, everybody who showed up today. And it's been incredible. It's been really incredible, and I feel really humbled to be among some of the people that have shown up today. But yeah, stay informed, everybody. I love you all. Take care.